Ace Frehley. You won't believe what happened next. What if the wildest, most unpredictable guitarist of a generation left behind one last shock? One that didn't happen on stage, but in the hearts of the people who knew him best? Tonight, we're honoring Ace Frehley, the Spaceman, whose riffs, grin, and fearless showmanship rewired rock music forever. And yes, the tributes coming in, especially from Gene Simmons, are nothing like the headlines you've seen before. He wasn't born a star. He was a kid from the Bronx named Paul Daniel Frehley, soaking up the sound of a musical home, an engineer, dad who played church organ, a mom at the piano, a brother on classical guitar. Then, one Christmas in 1964, a first electric guitar showed up, and everything snapped into focus. No fancy lessons, no patience for rules he learned by ear, locked in for hours, copying licks from Hendrix, The Who, Zeppelin. He got tossed from a couple of schools, flirted with trouble, and still found his way. Friends started calling him Ace because, well, he kept landing dates for the whole crew. It stuck. By early 1973, Ace Frehley wandered into an audition that would change music videos, stadium stages, and teenage bedroom walls for decades. An ad in the Village Voice wanted a lead guitarist with flash and ability. The group was about to stop being Wicked Lester and become something bigger. Kiss the vision of Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, with Peter Criss already on drums. Ace walked in wearing mismatched sneakers, plugged in, ripped a solo over Deuce, and the room just stopped. A week later, he was in the band. The personas came next. Gene Simmons became the Demon, Paul Stanley, the Star Child, Peter Criss, the Catman, and Ace, a sci-fi kid at heart, claimed the Cosmos, the Spaceman, silver makeup, star black eyes, and a guitar that smoked like a volcano, shot rockets, and sometimes looked like it might fly away without him. He even designed the lightning bolt logo. Offstage, he was quiet, almost shy. On stage? Untouchable. People didn't just hear Kiss, they witnessed it. And right at the center of that spectacle was Ace, bringing danger and joy in the same breath. At first, he ducked the mic. He wrote Cold Gin, but let Gene Simmons sing it. Then 1977 hit, and Ace nearly got electrocuted on stage. He turned the scare into art and wrote Shock Me, finally taking lead vocals. Fans went nuts. A year later, the band took a wild swing. 4 solo albums released on the same day. A disaster waiting to happen, except Ace's record blew up. New York Groove climbed the charts. The album went platinum, and suddenly the Spaceman didn't just light the sky, he owned it. Fame, though, is a rough co-pilot. The touring grind, the pressure, the chaos. Ace felt all of it. By 1982, worn down and craving freedom, he stepped away. He tried to disappear for a bit, but music wouldn't let him. Frehley's Comet was born in 1984, and by 1987, Into the Night had fans right back where they belonged, shouting every note. Through the late 80 seconds and early 90 seconds, the music kept coming. So did the battles, some public, many private. Then came the moment nobody thought would happen. In 1995, the original lineup reunited. The makeup came back. The world tour exploded. For so many fans, seeing the 4 of them together again was a time machine. The reunion would end, as these things do, but the memory stayed golden. Ace's personal life was never a tabloid circus. He married Jeanette Trerotola in 1976 at the peak of Kiss Mania, welcomed a daughter, Monique, and no matter what storms rolled through, kept the bond. Father and daughter even had matching AC tattoos. Underneath the pyrotechnics, there was always a man with a steady belief in God, a thread that pulled him through bad nights and better days. And the work didn't stop. In 2024, he dropped 10,000 volts, proof that the spark was still loud, still fun, still Ace. Now, the part that hurts. A fall. A brain bleed. The updates went from cautious to grim, and then the news landed like a punch. Ace Frehley was gone at 74, surrounded by family. The rock world fell silent, and then the tributes started to roar. Messages poured in from musicians he'd influenced, guitarists who'd learned their first bends trying to sound like him, and fans who grew up air soloing to Shock Me. And then, something no one expected. Gene Simmons, the man so often painted as the steely businessman of the band, wrote from a deeper place. He didn't post a press release, he shared a confession. He called Ace his brother. He said they'd reconnected in recent months, that they were going to meet before Christmas, that some conversations shouldn't wait, and he was grateful they didn't. He admitted that when Ace left in '82, he put on a tough face because the band needed it, but inside, he was devastated. He even said he begged Ace to stay, that he'd have shifted parts of the show, even the musical direction, if that's what it took. How often do you hear that from Gene Simmons? Almost never. He called Ace the spiritual center of those early years, the unpredictable spark, the soul. He described watching from the side of the stage during Ace's solos on the reunion tour just to feel that teenage hunger again. The clubs, the dreams, the miracle of four guys who built something from nothing. And he said what so many fans wished. The biggest regret, no final performance with the original four. Too much pride, too much business, on all sides. Now the chance is gone. He ended with a line that blew up across social media. Wherever you are now, Space Ace, save me a spot in your band. I'll bring the bass. You bring that laugh. That laugh. If you know, you know. The demon, unmasked human, broken and grateful. Paul Stanley spoke too, steady and heartfelt, pointing to the depth of a connection most people never saw. Peter Criss called Ace his brother. Bruce Kulick, who carried Kiss's guitar torch in another era, paid respect to the one-of-a-kind style that influenced millions. And maybe that's the real measure here. Not awards, not bank accounts, but echoes. How many fingers learned to bend a note because Ace Frehley made it sound like a firecracker and a love letter at the same time? Ace's life had detours, financial hits, hard seasons, but he never chased the safe route, and he never faked the joy. To him, it was always the same beautiful equation. Plug in, turn up, make someone in the back row feel 10 feet tall. He once said he just wanted to be remembered as a guy whose playing made people happy. By that standard, he didn't just pass, he passed with flying, smoking, rocket-fueled colors. So here's the question for you. What's your Ace Frehley moment? Was it the first time you saw the smoke pour out of that guitar? The shock and smile of New York Groove on the radio? The reunion chills when the lights hit four familiar faces? Or was it quieter, a lesson, a laugh, a riff you finally nailed at 2 a.m. that made you feel like you were in the band? Wherever he is, I hope he's doing what he always did, making the room brighter, louder, freer. The Spaceman has taken his last bow down here, but if there's a rock and roll heaven, it's a lot louder tonight. If this tribute struck a chord, drop your favorite Ace story or song below. Which solo changed your life? Which riff still gives you goosebumps? Hit like if you loved the man and the music. Subscribe for more deep dive stories like this, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's next. And hey, next time you pick up a guitar, bend that note a little longer, a little braver. Do it the Ace Frehley way.